Kyle, it feels like there's a heavy clump on my chest that I've been dancing around for the past year and not quite addressing it when it comes to financial stability. I want you to know that there's a lot of us that have a heavy clump on our chest. I want you to know that it's not just about your specific thing. This is going to be something that frees you guys so much. Does anyone else have a heavy clump on their chest every once in a while? Does anyone else have or often solar plexus? Like, this is really big. I want you to see this, Neha. I want everyone to see this. I want to dare you guys. Oh, this is going to feel so good. To stop personalizing your pain that we're all in. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is going to be the answer of the night. Stop making your pain that's here about your one issue. In other words, I want you to picture right now that we as a collective, we're all stuck together like a big clump of ice. And I want you to imagine that around 2012, there started becoming cracks in the ice. Then I want you to picture in 2020, the ice melted. We're much more water with little floating clumps of ice. And now imagine that we're like 80% water and we've all got a remaining clump of ice right here. And the reason it's not falling apart yet is because, first of all, it's just not supposed to. Imagine that just tons of people have this right now. And you're adding all the shit. This is my financial thing. You know what I said about my clump of ice today? This is about me trying to understand my dad. But I just watched as Neha has the same freaking lump and I'm going, got it. And then it turns out you all have a clump and we can go, oh, imagine the releasing and the not internalizing this as your issue, right? To just go, the universe is bringing light to all, and we're moving from being only ice to there are clumps of ice in our water, right? And it's just that time. And imagine if you just are like, we all have it, right? Now, if I'm looking at this lump and going, this is just about me trying to figure out my dad, and I'm the only one with ice on my chest, and Neha's going, this is my financial stability. We're trying to get rid of the ice that's collectively going to be here right now. And if you could just let it be here, it'll melt faster on its own. But just instead of making it, this is about financial stability, and this is about my ice that only I have. Imagine we're all as a collective, there's 8 billion clumps of ice. Right? And the difference in pain is some people think that the clumps of ice is them. Some people think the clump of ice is their job. Some people think the clump of ice is, right? And then we could go to the collective of going, the clump of ice is just here because that's where the universe has it. Isn't that freeing? I'm just supposed to feel some ice this year. I'm supposed to feel some loneliness this year. I'm supposed to feel off this year. I'm supposed to feel the clump of ice here. And I'm not going to try to chisel it or get rid of it or speed it up because the universe has got it there. Now, weirdly, you will warm up because guess what you're doing in that answer? You're actually becoming all that is. You're looking at it through the eyes of the universe now. You're seeing everyone's got the clump of ice. You're not going, the small story of Neha has it. You're saying, I am the collective, right? I am the collective. You are becoming oneness. So part of the collective is to stop figuring out the small story of Neha's ice issue and go, that's just where I am because I'm all that is. Now you're looking at it from the whole thing. I'm the collective. It's just that's where the ice is. Now, do you notice that the ice is not nearly as heavy from this frequency? It is when you're trying to go, this is because of Neha's money issue. It's my financial stability issue, right? That's what it is. I got to fix that. And then there's an egoic way to get rid of what the universe has there. The ego can't get rid of itself, right? The ego can't push itself away. It won't do that, right? It would be death to itself, right? So you're all that is, Neha. The next part says, I feel there's conflict for choosing to live in my freedom. I've felt shame and hiding around relatives when it comes to that. I'm slowly learning to come out of that and own where I am currently. So see how it's all Neha's figuring out? I hear you, but I'm all of a sudden just in this oneness with you. I've spent a lot of my time outside in nature and by the beach doing the inner work. I still find myself not taking any action to better my situation. What are your thoughts when it comes to taking personal responsibility for that? What if you have an idea of what personal responsibility is? And what if it's actually to start to see all that is? Like, what if your idea of personal responsibility is to fix your dad's ego versus, right? Like, what if your personal responsibility is start to see life from the universe's perspective versus just do what you need to keep your parents' story happy? What I hear, Neha, this is what I hear, is you're actually incredibly expansive and deep, and you're already there in that oneness place, but you're fighting for questions that are much smaller than you, which keeps the ice there much more, because you're going, what do I need to do? And the answer to what you're needing is in the mind of like, then I'm something to my parents again, or then I'm, because we're hiding around relatives, we're all this stuff. They still matter in this story, right? They still matter. Do you feel that? Like they're and all that isness, they don't, but your body seems to be connected to that. But you're still fighting for, how does the small story of Neha find her certainty and stability and make everyone else happy and become responsible in the right way? But your problem is your consciousness is much bigger. What if we're asking the universe's idea of responsibility versus your parents? What, like, do you guys hear the difference? How do I figure out certainty and stability? Do you mean within the boundary of your parents? It's Neha says, I feel that. I see how I'm fighting for the smaller me, and that's what my parents want. So, what does the universe want? Because the universe is your parents now. Every time you make your smaller, which is the answer I needed for today about my dad, what does the universe want? You're still making yourself your parents' kid versus God's kid, but your body's already connected to your God's kid. So maybe what needs to happen is the integration of the understanding that you're all one and your body's already there, but you keep fighting for the smaller story, right? We keep fighting for, I got to make it happen in this small measurable to my dad's ego from 1950s. Like, you see that? Like, that's the problem. If you're a Harvard senior and you're trying to figure out how to get to be the very best in third grade, you're shrinking yourself and you'll suffer because you're just trying to be the best within the third graders versus the whole thing. But it's so big to go, oh, that thing on my chest that I feel, all of humanity's feeling it too, in different ways. But that's just supposed to be there. Feel that, everybody. Undo yourself from the small story that needs to do something with it. That's what you're breaking up with.